Hey, what's up? It's Kevin Rogers. Welcome to Copy Chief Radio, brought to you by copychief.com. See how that works? Let's get into it. Hey, everybody, it's Kev here, and this is going to be great. I'm talking today with Anika Watkins. Anika runs moxiecopywriting.com. It's an agency. That's right. She runs a copywriting agency, which is really a dream come true in this industry. And it's rare because it's a tough thing to do. It's hard to organize copywriters and clients and get everybody working in sync together. But Anika's put a lot of work into this, and she's really perfected this model of helping anybody who needs good copy work through her agency. She's bringing in lots of copywriters of all skill levels to work with these clients. And I know from personal experience, because I've talked to a lot of the writers that she's hired from Copy Chief, they love working with Anika and Moxie because she makes it easy. She does, all the stuff that makes it hard to get your freelance career going, like obviously finding the clients, but project management, all those things. So they get to just really plug into her system and do the work they love to do. So excited to talk with Anika today, and we're specifically going to focus on what freelancers can do to help themselves get an edge, stand out in the market, not blow the gig, when they're talking to prospects. Obviously, when you're working with someone like Anika who's doing all the hard stuff for you, it's a little easier, but everybody's out there trying to make their way as freelancers, and she talks to a lot of them and works with a lot of them. So she's going to give us some insights today of things that she sees freelancers doing right and wrong and how we can all do better. So Anika, thanks for being here. Really excited about this.
Yes, thank you so much, Kevin. It was so awesome to be at Copy Chief Live and to connect with the writers there. And I'm super excited. We're able to bring on several writers to our team already, and it's been an awesome experience. So I'm super excited to dive in because I started out in freelancing myself about 10 years ago. So I've been through the whole process. I know exactly what it feels like, how hard it can be to land gigs. And so I'm excited to share some helpful tips with people who are trying to break in or just grow their freelancing career.
Awesome. That's great. Appreciate that. And real quick, tell us a little bit more about Moxie and the kind of clients you work with. So if someone's listening, I know a lot of people are listening who need copy. What kind of clients do you serve best in Moxie?
So our primary client is going to be other marketing agencies. We do work with some solo entrepreneurs and small companies, but most of our clients are other Facebook agencies or digital marketing agencies, and they're needing really great copy quickly and specifically direct response. So what we specialize in is going to be, Facebook ad copywriting first, followed by email sequences and then landing pages. So we just are experts at direct response in those particular three spaces, but we also offer, regular content as well. So like blog content, web copy, but our strength, I would say for sure, is going to be doing, killer direct response copy that's going to get people to take action and then, buy a product or do what you want the reader to do.
Excellent. Love it. Nice and clear. And I love that you've kind of narrowed down where you can really be effective for your clients and not just trying to do everything.
Yeah, I feel like, there's so many writers out there, and I've heard you talk about this too. It's kind of like you don't want to be a jack of all trades, master of none, and nobody wants to hire the generalist writer. So even when we are onboarding writers for our team, we're always looking for people who are, are they amazing at Facebook ads, or are they like the king of email sequences? So I think knowing that special category that you're really, really good at is very important.
Yeah, it's so important. Awesome. Cool. So let's talk about it. When you're meeting freelancers, like you said, you're in the trenches yourself. You had a successful career and now it's grown into an agency. What do you think is the best way that a freelancer can make a great first impression? Because that's, I think, the thing that they get so scared of is sort of blowing that first impression and feeling like they're going to be exposed, the career is going to end. You know what I mean? What can they do to feel better about that?
Yeah. So, I've been here so many times myself early on, trying to get gigs and clients. And the first impression is so important. And especially if you're a writer, right? Like if you're going to contact an agency or a business and you want to win their copywriting business, your first test really is your email that you're sending to the client or your contact, because as a writer, it should be compelling and it should grab attention and be really effective and impressive. And so, one of the biggest no-nos I would say is do not use any sort of like copy and pasted template.
Mm.
Like it's fine to have an outline or something general you like to send to companies. But for me, we get so many contacts from copywriters every week. And the ones that always stand out to me are super original. So they come up with like a really catchy headline or a subject line. And just from the get-go, they grab your attention. And then the email that they craft is just really well thought out. Sometimes it's kind of funny. But I think the first thing any writer needs to do is stand out in that email, because even if you've met someone in person, like at Copy Chief, where I got to meet several writers or a bunch of writers, the ones who emailed me and sent those like original, witty, compelling emails, those were the ones we got in touch with first. So I think nailing that first introduction is really, really important.
Yeah, that's a great one. And again, just to give a little context to this, because this is one where you want to feel empowered to be yourself, right? But also not push it, not overdo it, right? So let's be clear that we're not saying, come up with a gimmick.
Yeah.
You don't have to write a whole SNL, skit here. Permission to be yourself and make it a little more casual, but direct. And just, like Anika said, like I would risk a little bit more being personable and yourself rather than feeling stiff and templated.
Yeah, just be genuine. So your subject line, don't say interested in copywriting position. I've had people say stuff to me in the subject line like, add me to your kick-ass copywriting team, or, like, am I the unicorn copywriter you've been looking for? And stuff like that grabs your attention, so that's the first place you can stand out. But to your point, I think just being genuine and being honest in your email is super important. And another thing too, I would say just jump to the point of what makes you uniquely qualified. Like, what is your secret sauce? What do you do better than anybody else? So like, if you are amazing at emails or Facebook ads or lead magnets, I want to know that like right away. And so do other agencies and companies. So I think don't be afraid to just jump in and tell us what you're great at.
And about how much information, how long should this email be?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't write a novel, but I would say just use your judgment. I wouldn't say there's like a certain word count. I would just kind of feel it out. I'm such a free-spirited writer, I would say, and I always have been. Like, I love templates and structure, but I also kind of just go with my gut a lot. So I'd just say, don't write a novel. Tell us, who you are, why you're a good fit for what we're looking for, what makes you unique, showcase your personality. And another thing too is just doing your homework before you contact the agency or the client, because a lot of times people will contact us and they don't actually have any clue what we do. As a writer, we research. That's a huge part of our job to deliver excellent copy. So do your diligence before you reach out and just maybe mention a few things that you like about the agency or the company that you're looking to work with. And I think all of those things are super helpful in that first email.
Yeah, that's really great advice. And again, it's one of those things where I think sometimes good writers, they default to trying to be super short so that I don't want to bother you, right? I don't want to bother you. I'd say, it's okay. Bother me. but within reason, show me that you're interested and that you have some thoughts about this. That's a really great point about do the research, because that's an easy way for you or any client, Anika, to disqualify a writer if they haven't done some research. Because like you say, it's an innate instinct for a copywriter.
Yeah, absolutely. And, from my perspective, when we're hiring, taking that initiative speaks volumes, because I'm seeing you took time to write a personal email, you've done some research on my company, and you've put some thought into it. And I think that speaks really highly of somebody.
So I'd say somewhere around 5-6 paragraphs and some bullets in there about, your expertise would be plenty. And plenty of space there to show your personality and make it personable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
One thing I would say too is there's some like very simple rookie mistakes that I think people should be careful to avoid. And it's kind of funny. I see these every week, and you're not going to believe this, Kevin, but I see this literally on a weekly basis. People will email me saying I'm interested in the copywriting position, but they spell it like a copyright. Like
wow.
Cat,
oh,
like
man.
Cat.
Oh, boy.
It's like, no, guys, come on. If you're a copywriter, that is like the biggest thing you cannot do is spell copywriting wrong. So I'm sure nobody listening is going to do that, but I just thought I'd throw that out.
Well, and I bet the reason you're seeing it so much partly is because of voice to text. And the reason it makes me think of that, I had somebody, trolling one of my Facebook ads, as people love to do. Anybody advertising on Facebook knows you just get people trying to call you out, right?
Absolutely.
And some guy tried to slam me and did exactly that. It came out as RAGHT. And it was such an easy comeback. He's like, voice to text, jerk off, and I'm like, well, come on, man. If you're a writer, you better check your voice to text at least. So
exactly.
That's the easiest rule in the world. Never voice to text anything you send to a potential client.
Don't do it. And spell the owner's name correctly. So like my name's Anika. I get Anita all the time. Just, super easy stuff like that. And another one I would say too. So like if you see an ad for looking for, Facebook ad copywriters, if you respond to that ad and you're interested, don't send them like landing page copy examples because, whoever's asking for that type of writer really wants to see a specific type of copy in that case. So I would say, try to actually send them the examples that they're looking for as well.
Yeah. Wow, that's really good stuff. We'll be right back to that conversation. I want to quickly tell you about Copy Chief, the membership, the full load, the mother load. What goes on in there? You can get your copy reviewed by working pro copywriters. We do new trainings every month based on the stuff that's proven, tested, and working best in the market today. Not just copy, Facebook ads, webinars, all the stuff that you need in your funnel to optimize your sales. You're getting it in real time from the real pros inside of Copy Chief. Go to copychief.com/join and see what we got for you. Now, back to this amazing conversation. This is a really good one. You wanted to share some about remote writing etiquette, because again, part of the great thing about being a freelancer in the modern digital age is that we usually get to work from wherever we want. So what's some etiquette here we need to understand about remote copywriting?
Yes, definitely. So I think this is so important because remote work is awesome, like you said, but it can also get a little hazy, when you're not working with a team in an office. So there's a few things that I think are really important and just some things I've observed over the years working with our team and things we try to avoid now. The biggest thing is being responsive. So being upfront with your client or your agency about being available is really important. And ghosting is not cool. So don't ever ghost people on assignments. We've had that happen in the past where, we think a project is going fine and then the deadline comes and the writer disappears and we have no assignment. Now that doesn't happen often, but I would say, communication is absolutely key in remote writing. So even being an over communicator is better than no communication from my perspective. So be available, like for our writers, we'll ask them what their preferred contact method is. So whatever that is, just be available there. If it's email, text, phone call, and not to be abused. We don't call people on weekends and evenings, but just be available because it's good for your agency or your client to know, okay, they're going to get back to me if I have a question and we're going to be able to communicate about this project.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I love that you added that one because ghosting to me is the crime of the inexcusable crime. Because look, no matter what you're going through, if you have the right intentions and you communicate, all can be forgiven, right?
Absolutely.
But when you ghost or take way too long to answer, people can only assume the sort of the worst stuff that, oh, the message didn't reach you. Oh, this person's hurt or in danger, right? Or, or that they're just a jerk and disappeared. And so, as a professional, someone who works remotely, like even have things in place to where, say something awful happened and you were hospitalized, right? Or somehow unable to complete a project, you should have a person in your life who knows how to get into your email and communicate for you in those circumstances.
I totally agree. I had my appendix taken out 4 years ago, and I was prepared for that situation because I thought someday, at that point, I was still doing a lot on my own and I had all these clients. So I had a project manager and I said, okay, I have to go to the hospital. I need you to email all of my accounts and let them know what's going on. So always over communicate. I think that's super, super important.
Yeah. And man, just ghosting on a project, it's like, if you're going to do that, just consider that, all right, I'm ending my career now.
Yes. Yeah.
Like
And
seriously, like that you're done. Like, very inexcusable.
yeah, I totally agree. And I think sometimes people feel like when they work remotely, they don't have to deal with the confrontation because they don't have to go to the office and like see someone. They don't feel as accountable for some reason. So I don't personally understand because I've never ghosted someone. But I think, an agency's gone out of their way to hire you, be accountable. Another big thing I would say is follow the specific processes that the client or the agency has provided you with. So like for our agency, we have very specific templates we use, a very specific process for submitting work and how we label documents to keep everything cohesive. And sometimes we'll hire writers, they'll just kind of dive in and glance over those things and not really follow the guidelines. And we try to make it as easy as possible for people. So I'd say, again, do your research, be attentive to detail. All of that stuff matters. And when you're working with an agency or a large company, they have those processes in place for a reason because it makes everything run smoother. And so if you're not following the guidelines, it's a lot of back and forth and change this and tweak that. So follow the processes, that the client or agency gives you. That makes everything so much easier.
Okay. And finally, how do you get more work? That's the burning question, right? How do you get more work from a client or agency?
So, this is a really good one. So communication, I'll just touch on that again. Communicate regularly. So if you're with an agency like ours or another big client, just stay in touch with them. Maybe set a reminder on your computer. If you haven't had a project in a few days or whatever the situation might be, just say, hey, I'm available this week. Do you have any projects? So you avoid getting lost in the shuffle. I'd also say just ask. So simply ask your contact or the business owner. You don't know if you don't ask. I'm such an advocate of being a squeaky wheel.
Yep.
And just say, hey, I would love to take on some more work. I'm available this month, for this many hours. How can I get plugged in? And it's amazing because when writers work with us and they do that, it just helps them stay top of mind with our staff so we can continue to send them good work. So I think those two things are really important. Another one I would say is, if you've had a recent win for another client, go ahead and share that with us. I think that's great. Sometimes we'll have writers who are just getting plugged in and we don't have a ton of work for them in the beginning. But if they're sending us work that they're doing really well, it's like, oh, wow, they just nailed that email sequence for another client. We need to pull them into our email list. So I think that's a great way, show people what you can do. And then one of the most basic things is once you're in to an agency or you're working with a business, just do really, really good work.
Yeah.
Communicate and meet your deadlines. If you can do those three things right there, you're literally gold to an agency because if we know you're going to deliver quality work consistently, meet your deadlines, and communicate with us, we want to send people as much work as possible. So, just do fantastic work, be a good communicator, meet your deadlines, and that just makes you such an ideal candidate and an ideal asset for the agency and the client.
Yeah, I love it. It's so true, right? It takes a lot of work to establish these relationships. And I always tell clients who come to me and say, Kev, can you recommend a copywriter? And it's a bit of a daunting task for me to provide that to somebody, right? Because no matter how experienced they are in their business, I need to talk to them and I need to understand how they work with copywriters. I want to make sure that they understand that the relationship's a little different than it is with other kind of service providers, and really make sure they have an appreciation for the level of copywriter that I want to connect them with, right? It goes both ways. And so copywriting in particular is a different kind of freelancing business, and it takes extra effort. The good news is once you're in the door with a client, like Annika's saying, if you do those three things, the pro code essentially, right? Communicate well, always meet your deadlines, and just do quality work. Show up where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there, doing what you said you'd have done, right? And take pride in your work, and even find ways to over deliver when possible. Most copywriters who are successful, once they start getting a few clients, those very often return in repeat work and retainer deals and all kinds of cool things, because it takes extra work to initiate this relationship. But the good news is it always pays off in long-term relationships.
It does, definitely. Because when we have a writer on our team who just consistently delivers great content for us, we don't want to lose them. So we make them a priority. and we go out of our way to make sure we give them the best projects. And so, yeah, I think everything you said there definitely summed it up. And one of the last points I wanted to mention real quick too is, whether you're a new freelance writer or pretty experienced, I think one of the biggest things people need to be open to is accepting feedback and critique of your writing. Because even myself, I'm always asking for feedback on my own writing, and I've been writing a long time, but it makes you a better writer. So on all of our projects, we always give the writer feedback on their assignment as far as, did it have the right flow? Was the hook strong enough? Did we capture everything that the client requested? And just, we like to get really specific about our feedback, because I feel like getting that feedback is only going to make everyone a better writer. So just being open to feedback and taking that as constructive criticism.
Love it. I always say the moment you become a true writer is when you crave the harsh critique. It's nice in the beginning for everybody to go, no, it's really good. You should keep it up. We need that. But there's a point where it's like, no, please don't BS me. Like I need to know how this can be better. And one of the things I've heard consistently, Anika, from the writers from Copy Chief that you're working with is that they love that you've created a community amongst the writers you work with where you're sharing wins, you're sharing things that are working better within the projects, and you do give very clear, instructive critiques. And that's a really valuable thing for the right kind of copywriter.
Oh, that's great. That's really good feedback to have. I just think because myself being a writer for so long, those things all really mattered to me. So I'm really trying to, create a culture where it is a community and it's not just contractors. Because I feel like, saying you work with contractors is kind of cold and not personal. And I really want to have a team and a community like you guys have, at Copy Chief. It's really a community. So That's good to hear.
Cool. Well, it's been great getting to know you and work with you. I know we'll keep on because your agency is growing fast, and we've got a lot of skilled, hungry copywriters in Copy Chief who are excited to work with you more. So thanks for doing this. This was really instructive, and I'm sure we'll be doing more of this. So I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kevin. Really appreciate it.
All right, everybody. Moxie Copywriting, Anika Watkins. If you need copy, you know where to go. If you're a copywriter who thinks you're a good fit for Anika's agency, then you also want to, first you want to join Copy Chief, and then...
Good plug.
Yeah, Moxie Copywriting is where you reach Anika and find out what's going on, what are the opportunities, and more soon with Anika. Appreciate it. Talk soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, you want to be on the inside of all the best converting campaigns in marketing? The latest, greatest copywriting techniques. Find out what's really working today from people out there making it work, doing the testing, getting the results, sharing with you, reverse engineering, great copywriting, plus a whole catalog of trainings to help you do everything from write better story, better email, Facebook ads, YouTube scripts. We got it all for you inside at Copy Chief. Go check out copychief.com/join to learn how to become a member. And if you'd like my free book, The 60-Second Sales Hook, where I turned a joke formula into an irresistible sales hook that you can deliver in under 60 seconds, go to 60secondsaleshook.com. Grab yourself a free copy.